You never know until it happens. Ain't a thing you see coming a mile away. But suddenly lightning somehow got into the bottle. Now you need to move fast to make it stay. You should hurry to love him now. You should hurry to love him now. It's gonna get better, it's gonna get worse. One day is a blessing, the next is a curse. But that's how it is, that's how love's supposed to feel. Like God and the devil have struck a deal. You should hurry to love him now. Oh, you should hurry to love him now.
About trust, it could hurt my love, y'all, but you really got the choice, but have some. We all fall down, never getting used to feel numb. It's getting hard to overcome some. Knowledge to be free from this gun. One shot and I'm down. Oh, I know that all is my fault. Never learn from it all, like a fastball in motion. I'm hoping. I thought that we had it all, now I'm broken and scarred, and I'm scared of it all, no joking. Oh, no joking. Oh, I thought that we had it all, now I'm broken and scarred, and I'm scared of it all. Oh, no joking. Discovering our eyes. Don't really have a choice but try on. We all fall times I have lost love, getting out to overcome someone wrong, and I'm down. Oh, I know that all is my fault, never learned from it all, like a fastball in motion. I'm open, I thought that we had it all, now I'm broken and scarred, and I'm scared of it all. No joking, oh, no joking, oh, I thought that we had it all, now I'm broken and scarred, and I'm scared of it all. Oh, no joking. Is that tears that I feel up with emotions? Could I taste them for real? Longing for you, oh, but I can't get back. What can I do? Oh, when your train is gone. I don't wanna go back, don't wanna go back. If you are not with me, hey, do you read me? Go back to where we came from. If my hands are empty, hey, do you read me? Go back. I don't wanna go alone. Go back. If you are not with me, hey, I don't wanna go back. I know you want the best for me. Your intentions are good. I walk back to my history, into my old neighborhood. Longing for you, oh, but I can't get back. What can I do? Oh, when your train is gone. I don't wanna go back, don't wanna go back. If you are not with me, hey, do you read me? Go back to where we came from. If my hands are empty, hey, do you read me? Go back.
Welcome to the SMITE Minor League. Finch here, joined by Melissa Taco Posado. Posada? Does anyone say Melissa anymore? Is anybody in the world say Melissa?
No, it's always just Taco. You know this already, Finch. You're just starting to troll me.
What? I would actually never end up doing that, but we're going to have an exciting SML day today, and Signum going to be going up against Fear No Evil in this Signum roster. I mean, they really have looked like there's no one who can step up against them. In fact, we should have that schedule ready so we can go ahead and take a look at all those matchups that we can, which ones happen off screen and which ones we're going to be looking at, because a bit of a switch up in the way we're doing our broadcast. We had to move some of these around.
Well, it's one thing to have repeat performances, but for Insignum, they've had pretty much a repeat split. I mean, even in comparison to how their performance was in the spring prior to them coming out for the LAN, I fully believe that this Insignum roster, they are amped up, ready to make their return. We already know that they are top of the standings, and it honestly feels like no one can catch them.
It feels like I think they're record-wise having an even better split than they did in the spring, right? I think they dropped one set in spring, and now they're just entirely undefeated here in the summer. Or at least if they're able to win this set, they still, of course, have to play up against Fear No Evil. But you did see there that we had the change up. We're not going to be broadcasting anything on Wednesday, 4th of July. Here in America, at least, we celebrate our independence from the likes of Hindu Man and other people like that. So we're very happy to be able to have that time off here. It's important to us, but that means that we are moving that SML broadcast around. So you'll see some matches on Thursday and some extra ones on Friday as well to make up for that.
It's actually incredible how well that fits with the whole Hinduman bit.
It's so perfect.
Oh, God. I mean, I really got to hand you that one.
Yeah, no troll. Hinduman was laughing because he got to tell us as Americans we had to come into work on Wednesday as an Englishman, and then we didn't have to. So there you go, Hindu. Take that.
Now he gets to celebrate it with us.
That's right. That's right. He doesn't. There's nothing he can say. I'm the one on cast, so he has to sit there and just listen. But let's go into the matchup here. Insignum gonna be going up against Fear No Evil. Those picks and bans should be ready here in just a minute. But Taco, I mean, Fear No Evil, they've got some talent here on this roster. I mean, Moex, of course, is an old name we all definitely recognize. We've seen some good things from Glory, some good things from Lucas. I mean, can they stand up against this Insignum roster?
I think more importantly, probably going to be focusing a little bit more on Lucas here. I think he's definitely been one of the catalyst members in terms of finding out the keys for success that Fear No Evil need to follow. He typically tends to get things started pretty hot in mid lane, and even though he can be a bit unconventional with some of his itemization choices, sure, I still firmly believe that the mechanics at least are there, and that is probably the most important part, and that's going to be the best thing to keep in mind. So Fear No Evil, I would really like to see them play pretty heavily around their mid laner if they want any hopes of toppling Insignum.
No, I'm right there with you. That mid lane going to be so important. It's not going to be easy going against the likes of Death Panner, who was an integral piece of an HRX team, really, just last year. So certainly not going to be an easy job. The rest of this Insignum roster, though, really does feel stacked as well. I mean, with Zero in the solo lane, he's really kind of been, I feel like, the solo lane leader in the minor league so far.
Well, interestingly enough, also, Fear No Evil, if you take a look at their first couple of picks and bans, Artemis Chernobog clearly concerned about letting Joshi get one of these high-pressure hunters over there in the duo lane, trying to avoid some of this team fighting capabilities that those hunters can provide also. But to allow Lasbra to get this Circuit, I mean, every single time he gets the Circuit, it just feels like he dominates the entire match.
Well, he absolutely does, and that's what's scary about this team, right? You kind of do have to ban away the Artemis Chernobog from Joshi, but when you do, you leave up the likes of Circuit to end up getting grabbed up. I mean, Athena is still on the table if that wants to be picked up, even though it looks like they're prioritizing the Sylvanas for lane pressure instead. So a very scary early draft for Insignum, but Fear No Evil have the Discordia for the mid lane. Cerberus, Flex could be solo or support.
I also really like the responses from Insignum. They pick up the Sylvanas, fully anticipating that, okay, we can't get one of the pressure hunters that we would have wanted, so let's go for a survivability aspect in the duo lane, but also by including the Sylvanas, this should assure that they don't end up losing their own buffs respectively towards from any invades out of Fear No Evil. A little bit of pressure there with the ROM, depending on who they decide to pair with that hunter, because the Astral Arrows combined with a lot of different supports clear can
be pretty good.
Be pretty strong clear also to match that of a Sylvanas because it's with the Jingwei.
That's right. If it is Cerberus over there, probably solo, but could be support, then they might not have too hard a time in that very first few levels of clear with this ROM once he has those Astral Arrows online. So I'm definitely with you on that. They can have a good time of it. But now, Fear No Evil turning their eyes towards Death Panner in that middle lane. The Agni and the Isis are both getting banned away.
Not sure that Insignum really seemed to mind, though. It's Zhang Kui and the Jungler elimination show, if you're on Insignum. Ratatosker, Ninja, Raven, really prioritizing the removal of those assassins. And I think that Fear No Evil, I like this option to not select their jungler right away. Instead, picking up the Osiris, this could possibly still be in the jungle role. I actually take that back. We
Yeah.
have seen a decent amount of Osiris jungle.
But this is what my concern was, right? You ban Agni, Isis, and Giannis Thoth were both still available. I mean, are those the two mages you ban? I mean, Agni's very good. But, I mean, do you ban Agni, Isis over Giannis Thoth? I mean, then Thoth happens.
Fear No Evil have a little bit more concerns, I think, over the actual AoE. They don't want to get zoned away from that circle of protection that of Isis or even the Agni bombs. It can be really annoying trying to deal with that, especially if Deathbender were to opt for a little bit more cooldown reduction.
Yes.
So you just don't really want to get caught out of position in those ways.
I think you might have been right. Look at that. I think you might have been right. I think it might be Osiris jungle. I mean, Eris, Cerberus. Which one of those two can go into the jungle at this point? So there you go.
I would have to assume that it's not going to be a jungle Ares. We have seen that once upon a time ago, but it's been so long now that I highly doubt it's very ideal, especially not into that Insignum composition. And that's my big concern here is the Ares. How does he survive?
It's tough, and this is what can be such a problem for these tankier gods, is executes like on this Achilles. I mean, you don't have to get them all the way down. Just bring them into the execute threshold. Oftentimes, Ares tries to get that no escape off when he's low, and you can just be executed. I mean, it's just not an easy life.
You're a stationary target, just immobile in the air, so I don't think the Fear No Evil are out of this from the drafts alone, but based off Insignum's track record, I'd have to lean their way for this one, Finch.
I wouldn't be surprised with you at all. It has not been an easy task for anyone to beat Insignum so far. Let's see if Fear No Evil can change that here as we move into the game. Casters, take it away.
Thank you so much, Finch and Taco. Joining me on the cast today is going to be Gormizer. We've stolen him from Paladins for a couple of days this week. How you doing, by the way?
I'm doing really good. It's nice to be back in SMITE. It feels like I've come full circle.
You've been around
like
the block.
Challenger Circuit into Hand of the Gods,
Yeah.
into Paladins, back to Minor League, which is kind of the comparable Challenger Circuit. So
You've pretty much seen a lot of these players
circuit.
before. Let's get into games so we can actually let you see this game in action. Insignum, undefeated so far, Gormizer, this split. They're looking like the top, and honestly, you recognize those names yourself.
And a lot of what they've been able to do, even just like composition-wise, is going to be able to shut down Fear No Evil relatively easily. Again, that Ares, while it might not be an Ares jungle, I feel like that's something Insignum could run if they had really wanted to. That's one of those things, like when you're at the top,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
could try to pull something like that.
Experiment a little bit.
But I don't see him accomplishing too much against the Sylvanas.
It's basically a very skill shot heavy composition for No Evil. It's high execution, but a high reward if you can pull that off. Whereas Insignum, very standard sort of composition here. Nothing too crazy. Good little spread of like early to late game and pressure in the right lanes. So we'll see what Fear No Evil can really make happen here. One thing to really mention, though, Gore, is Janex used to play for Fear No Evil, and he transferred to Insignum this split. So he knows a little bit about his former roster for sure.
And that's definitely one of the, I think, roughest events to have happen to a team, because it's arguable then that Genetics is going to be one of the better players that was on Fear No Evil. You
Clearly.
lose him, you kind of go down, I want to say, a tier as a team, and Insignum have risen up overall because of this, and now with the way things are going, they've got relatively good control. They're not worried about their lane. They have a level advantage, at least a little bit, over here in the duo. A lot of damage coming down from a Thoth in the mid lane. There is so much control that they have, like control potential that they have, that all they need is a couple of kills to really get the ball rolling.
And you'll be looking towards Lasbra for those kills too. On that circuit in the early game, can really start to put a bit of a beat down on, especially against an Osiris jungle that's going to take a little bit more time to get online. We'll find out how this works out, though, as Lasbra in the mid lane going to get a bit of poke off onto Lucas. Glory going to try and return some damage. Just a little off the mark there, so pressuring both the left, mid, and right lanes for Insignum so far.
Honestly, I'm waiting, I want to say like 2 more levels overall for that Circat. Once she gets there, you have that taunt, you have a lot of damage available. You don't necessarily need your ult, although it's definitely going to help that Thoth a lot in terms of securing kills. And once that starts to roll, I expect Lasbra to start making some rotations. Whereas Gloria on the other side, he's going to have to wait much longer. I mean, even with his ult being able to engage, there's not as much damage potential coming out of him.
There is a benefit for Glory, though, in the fact that the lanes are going to continue to be pressured by Insignum with how this is looking. So there's definitely options around the map for an Osiris to walk into lane and find someone that's a little bit too far forward, shown right now by Zero on this right-hand side. Keep an eye on Lasbra, though. I'm quite surprised that he went for the beads option here, not the blink. He's a little bit worried about the amount of CC that Fear No Evil are going to provide. But at the moment, he's going to steal away the speed buff, and I don't think Glory was aware of it. He'll find out now, though, as he comes over to check his buff.
Here's it dropped. Here's Circat more than likely going to the jump, but then gets away. And now Insignum having at least the tables turned for a little bit as the pressure gets flipped on its head. But you still have Lasbra kind of taking away whatever he can in the jungle, looking for the red buff now.
Yeah, he's going to look for a cheeky steal towards the end, but Lucas is here. He gets the buff and gets out of town. Insignum then, off to a pretty good start. Those buffs do end up adding up, Gormaz, if they continue to do so.
Especially when you're against Osiris. It's one of those things that if Osiris is getting all the farm he wants, he starts getting some kills, and he gets that level advantage, then you at least are comparable to an assassin. Like, you can at least try to fill that role. If Serket is getting all of that farm and then some, she's just going to be able to give them the lead.
Glory may have made a bit of a mistake here. He's come deep into the jungle looking for a bit of pressure. He got 2 babies and walks away unscathed, actually, surprisingly enough. Insignum didn't fully collapse there. I guess with them not having a couple of those ultimates online farm, definitely more important at this stage than kills.
And Lazarus right now should be getting close to that level 5 tick, and I think that's when you're going to see Insignum hit the gas pedal. That's when they really want to start attacking. And it kind of depends. I mean, Death Panther already has that snipe available, so a lot of damage for him, but he hasn't been playing insanely aggressive. That's mainly been Lazarus, so I'm expecting he's going to be the one that really brings that in. And I expect it to be on Discordia or Osiris somewhere in that mid lane.
And I think that's what I was going to say, where do you expect the ganks from? Because the problem is that they've all been pressured so heavily, these lanes, by Insignum. It's kind of tricky for a Circuit to really find a place to gank unless you're going to go all the way under the tower.
It's definitely going to be difficult. And at this point, Lazarus, I don't even know if he wants to jump in. Like, you can kind of feel that he has that patience coming for him, or that impatience coming, like where he wants to fight, but not quite sure when. Death Panther going to be backing right there, so you're not going to see anything over here. But Insignum have done pretty much everything they need to in the terms of we're getting all the buffs, we're getting all the mid camps, we're getting experience camps all across the board, and control of the lanes. So even though Fear No Evil are like keeping themselves alive, they're feeling the pressure constantly.
Well, Glory at the moment, gone for the round shield, into the Gladiator shield at the start of the game. Now, sure, getting an early game, you know, tier 2-ish item that's about 1,700 gold online for yourself is great. It doesn't give you mobility, though. And on a jungler, you really want that mobility. Those boots do get you around the map a little bit quicker. He's going to be a little bit slow, and he's already been losing some jungle so far, so we'll see if that works out for Glory. Big grouping on this left-hand side, though.
That mobility is actually going to make a big difference through all these fights. And looking at the fact that Osiris not only can't chase people down, I guess he could slow him a little bit to make it easier for him, but that jump, his ult is going to be the big key. The buff gets stolen. Zero looks to get aggressive, but he jumps in. Now all of a sudden he has no escape. He is stuck in that fight, and he has to full commit.
Pretty much. Flores on the right side then going to lose his blue to the pressure from the Achilles. You expect Achilles to do well in the early stages of the game, and he's doing fine in the lane now already with that Gladiator shield online too. Still wait for Lasbra to get his full boots online, so Insignum just taking this very slow so far game one. They're not impatient because obviously they've already qualified to make it to the Summerland, have the potential to take on North America's minor league team again, and show that they've learned a lot from last time round where they did suffer a bit of a defeat. Well, and not just a bit, it was a good defeat.
It feels, I want to say, akin to what I would expect out of these teams, especially like when it comes out of Europe. The history of these teams has always been kind of that slow, methodical start, make sure you have the control, and then you hit like 8 minutes and kills just start rolling in. You get first blood, and it's like, man, it's taken so long to get here. Then you hit 10 minutes, and all of a sudden you've met the kill per minute ratio.
I always look at a game of Smite as MOBA in general as like a chessboard, really, where you move the pieces around, and technically the gods are queens, but the start of a game in Europe is kind of the pawns are just pushed all forward, and then all of a sudden all the pawns get annihilated in a burst of speed, and then you're like, okay, what's the state of the game now? Talk about the state of the game, left-hand side, chains out from Ares, T8 doing some good work, no escape used, but he's taking a lot of damage, and he may go down to the dot damage coming out there from Genetics, and will do so. The combination of damage was just too much, and that's the issue with an Ares, but on the rotation, Glory was looking at trying to counter gank.
And it's one of those really awkward areas where if it's any other assassin, he knows he has the damage to trying to take that fight. Right now, Lazarus going to be the one who ganks him, going to force the beads, going to go for the ult as well, just trying to chase him down and get this kill.
And guess what? That auto attack was all it needed to bring it down after the ambush. If he had the full boots there, he may have been a bit of a better situation in all honesty, because he may be able to just continue running away from Lasbra. But to be fair, Lasbra played it very well with 2 kills up. Lucas with the apple in the mid lane. If that would have connected with the target, they could have been dead. But now Lucas, no abilities available. Good beads from him, however. On the left-hand side, though, Insignum looking to steal away that red, and are successful.
Lasbra with that taunt has now forced 2 different pairs of beads, and now is set up to the point where he can come right in. That cooldown is nowhere near as long. I mean, he's going to have that back in a few seconds. They're going to have to wait a couple minutes before they can try to dodge that again. So now Discordia and Osiris are both going to be on the chopping block for kills.
And even, you know, even with him not having that ultimate available, he's still going to do pretty good damage with the Cobra's Kiss, and Deathbane is Zero. Solos him and actually gets away from under the tier tower, only taking that one shot. He calculated that well.
that is one of those moments that, and Finch was mentioning it, you have these tanky bodies in Ares and Cerberus.
Yep.
All you need is an execute. You get them low enough and you get the kill, and being able to kind of reset that because of Achilles, he can just jump right back out, stays alive, gets the kill for his team, now up 3-0, and they got all of those in just a matter of a minute.
They did, and it's about 2,000 gold lead now for Insignum, just because of the buffs they got earlier. Add that to the first blood gold that went to Genetics, and you're looking at a 2K lead with just under 4,000 experience, which is a mighty chunk of change of experience at only 8 minutes in.
And a lot of that's here in the duo lane. Joshi going to get caught out, going to use his ult to disengage. Genetics is around, so I'm not worried about his health bar.
Ooh.
That's going to be a good block.
Great pull in from Genetics, and that keeps him in tower range. Glory be to the Genetics. He kills his former teammate under the tower. They were going for the play on Joshi there, Gorn. It just didn't work out well enough.
After watching it for just a little bit, I see why Insignum really wanted Genetics. He has been phenomenal on this Sylvanas. And again, it's just those moments where you can see the duo lane understanding the amount of damage he's going to be able to accomplish and the amount of time he can, and the control. I mean, that wasn't necessarily the hardest pluck to hit, but it was one of those that you could tell Glory didn't expect it. Being able to root him in the follow-up, everything that he's pulled off has set up that duo lane for success.
Well, a little bit greedy coming out from Zero there. Flores tries to punish him, and will actually get the ultimate in trade, but now going to eat a bit of poke from that Achilles now with the Gladiator Shield, and of course the full boots now online. He's really starting to hit that stride with Achilles, where this is the time when Achilles really shines for a little while before he starts to dip off in terms of what he can bring to the fights.
And now, especially with this kind of lead he's been able to cultivate, only 1 level overall in the solo lane, but now 2 levels ahead of the jungler. Glory doesn't have much room to work with. He doesn't have a lot of damage he can rely on. He just now finished his boots, so he's got some mobility, but not a lot in terms of his burst, not a lot in terms of control, which is where Lasber is going to be able to bring all of that. The Serket just has so much more to offer than this Osiris.
And Signum not really letting up the pressure at all in this game. At 7 minutes in, they've just stole the blue, and on the left-hand side, Lasber going deep in enemy territory, looking for the purple, but the change from T8 will slow him down momentarily. Deathpap is still on this right-hand side, looking to push out Flores, but Glory's now on the rotation, and that's going to pull Lucas across from mid potentially, but he's got to be careful, as both Serket and the Sylvanas are sat there.
This is that weird positioning where Insignum has such control over the map that, honestly, part of Fear No Evils is now Insignum's jungle.
That's
but
true.
They don't want to aggress too far. They don't want to overextend. They don't want to give up this lead. But that means they can't chase these kills anywhere near as far as they want.
Death Panther took more damage than he bargained for there, I'll tell you that much. He wasn't happy about that, but he will have to take a trip back to base now. So now it's a 4v5 advantage potentially for Fear No Evil, but 3 members of them have also based at the same time, so they won't be able to put any pressure on just yet. Next up on the advantage is Zero in the right-hand side, looking to see how the camps are. No back Harpies available from yet, as Lasbra takes a trade around the Harpies.
I don't think I have seen Fleur go into that blue buff area without being followed by Zero for the last 5 minutes. Every single time he tries to step into his jungle, Zero just follows him and dares him to try and fight back, because even right now, under tower, Fleur is at half health and taking too much damage from Zero that he can't fight.
And this is the problem with some of these warrior jungles that you see, Osiris specifically. I mean, if he gets behind or doesn't do anything in the early stages, it takes him a long time to ramp into the late game, and you've got to wait to around the 20-minute mark, get a couple more items on. A little bit concerned for Fear No Evil here with this composition they've put together. We mentioned it was high risk, high reward, and so far it's not been rewarding.
I mean, the longer the game goes, the better it gets for them, in the sense that they're going to be tankier. It's going to be a little bit harder to kill all of them. But then you look at the fact that you have an ADC who's more than likely going to be going into some sort of crit, going to be able to burst you down. You have Thoth who's going to burst you down, and Serket with damage that will just eat through your health bar off of her ult. You don't have a lot of options in terms of your tankiness to actually survive in Signum's roster.
Well, no escape in the mid lane. Going to pull Genetics in as he mistimed his ultimate a little bit. The chains will connect, but he's okay for now. In goes Lasbra, looking towards T8, and the combo onto the Ares is putting him very low. The poison will indeed secure the kill. Death Panther credited with it as Glory went to the backline looking to try and make it a 1-for-1. Won't be able to find who he's after. 5-0 in Signum.
Now you all just group up. Genetics heals everyone up. You go through. Now you have a lot of control.
Oh, no.
Glory, I want to say, makes the wrong call there, trying to go for the mid Harpies. Didn't have enough low health bars on the side of Insignum to make that call.
And Genetics 2-0-2 now. The most killing tree on his team so far with how this is going, as Death Panther just wants to punish Lucas some more. He's setting up Lasbra actually around the back.
He's going to be able to come through and doesn't even
3
need
kills
to secure it. Genetics
He's a hero.
walks forward and hits it. Lasbra is in a I want to say, okay position. Everyone's going to be able to disengage. No one's worried, and now they're up 7-0.
Okay, what do we do in terms of build for Genetics then? We just got 2 more kills. Are we going for damage now? Is that the call here, Gore?
Attack speed Sylvanas.
Yes. Well, he's already got the wing blade, so he should be fine, right?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, you go for the attack speed.
Yeah.
Now your wave clear is a little bit better. You don't even need an ADC at that point.
That's true. But what attack speed item do we go for?
I have no idea.
See, that's
you broke me because I'm trying to go through my Sylvanas build, which has no attack speed.
Right.
And I can't think of an attack speed item I'd ever actually want to buy on Sylvanas.
Demonic Grip. That could be helpful. It'll help Death Panther do more damage too, right? That
Sure.
could work. Yeah. Actually, Spur the Magus could be pretty good on him. It's not attack speed focused, but those Wisps will debuff a target and stack up that
In fact,
Spur the Magus passive.
just sell everything and build what Death Panther's building.
It could work. It could work at this moment in time with how this game's looking. 7-0. Lucas rooted,
What a
pulled.
pull.
Beads cooldown has been consumed. And now Fear No Evil just still trying to farm. They've not found a single thing this game.
I wanted Death Panther to go for the shot, but he called it off. And
Yeah.
I think it's a better call because, again, objective secure, a lot of control coming down from just having that ultimate is now it's going to be the boxing match between the duo lane. Looks like Lasbra is going to be actually Joshi going to kill off Moex, who, again, someone who's been around for a long time, just not getting the play he wants in this game.
Been a while since we've seen Moex, but hold that thought. T8 gets pulled in by Genetics again, and the Wisps are going to do their work. Lasbra going to ult for good measures. The final judgment comes through. T8 falls for the 3rd time. Glory now in the mid lane. Wraps up 3 with those bindings, but it's not going to be enough to deter Insignum. Forces Fear No Evil back once more. This is why Insignum are the best team in the SMITE minor league in Europe.
This is a point where if Fear No Evil get one good fight, they could definitely turn things around, but the problem is where do they get that fight from?
That's true.
Their jungle doesn't have a lot of burst. Admittedly, I don't think I've seen Glory have that big of an impact overall in the fights. Maybe having that ult come through, get rid of some of the healing, try to apply that somewhere could help, but I mean, you're losing in farm, the Gold Fury's just been taken. There's not much you can do.
Nice little play from Lucas to avoid the stun from Zero, but Gold Fury's down. Chains from T8 do connect after a good blink. Problem being, though, is that Achilles is lovely and tanky at this stage at level 16. The closest person to him is Flores on that Cerberus at only 14. Rough game for Fear No Evil here. I'm really not sold on that Osiris jungle Gormizer. I don't think it's done anything to really help out this team today.
I'm actually surprised that he's been able to keep up as well with Lasmer in terms of levels. I mean, he's only level 12, 1 level behind, but still, I think a lot of it would come down to the fact that when you look at the player damage, he is sitting right above Sylvanas, and unfortunately for Fear No Evil, Moex is also the one who's at the bottom of that list. They have not been able to get a lot of damage over in the duo lane. The jungler hasn't been able to apply that pressure anywhere else. And because of that, Insignum, even when they take these fights, I expect when they group up, it's just going to be even more in their favor.
7k gold lead then, only 16 minutes in. You're looking pretty much around 500 gold a minute above your opposition at that point, which is pretty impressive. Split 5 ways, that's 100 gold per player per minute. And that's when you know you're in a rough situation when everybody's getting an additional 100 gold more than you every 60 seconds.
And then you look at gold numbers. I want to say, like, when Gold Fury is available, you can cut that in half, right?
Sure.
You look at that experience, and it's a 10k over in favor of Insignum, and that's not going to, like, stall until they hit level 20, and the highest they have is 17. They still have 3 levels before at least one of them gets capped off from that, and so you know Fear No Evil are feeling it just in level advantage overall, that Insignum are going to be dealing more damage. They're going to have more health. They're going to have those abilities just doing more.
Well, here we go. Glory's going to come around the corner, get pulled in by Genetics. Has to ult defensively to his tier 2 tower. Tier 1 did fall on the left-hand side. 4 on 4 at this tier 2 tower now. Genetics happy to tank up some shots here as Lasbra trying to swing around the back. Glory's going to be careful. He's got no ultimate. He's got no tier 2 tower.
Moex going to be taking the brunt of the damage. Lasbra going to be going in, but he's up in the air, so he's going to be safe at least for a little bit as the snipes come down. Not going to find a lot, and the ult charge going to come through, and that's going to confirm the kill.
And that's 2 kills for Death Panther as that final judgment just ripped through Fear No Evil's front and back line. And after the tier 2, well, Insignum start to wander towards potentially the Pyro or this tier 2 in the mid lane. They're looking to get out of this one quickly.
Zero dewards the Fire Giant, so it's open and available, and honestly, probably a better way to get 3 members, say a Fear No Evil, to come in and potentially lose another fight if you want to. Although Pyromancer at this point, you should be able to burn it no problem. That I don't know if Insignum are really worried about
Surrender
Fear No
vote
Evil.
already started, and I'm not really surprised here. I will say, you call yourself Fear No Evil and you don't run Hunbat's jungle. What is that about?
Yeah, you've got a good point.
Like,
Especially over Osiris. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
I could think of several times that one good Fear No Evil would have broken up Insignum. Again, you might not have had the follow-up damage. You might not have had what you wanted, depending on your positioning. But in-hand crits, he's got great mobility in terms of a teleport and a jump, and a great ult.
And when you look at the comp, though, I'm like, well, where do they engage with? It's an ult from Glory into the fight. It's Cerberus leaping in, or it's an Ares blink.
Yeah.
Outside of that, they have absolutely no engage. They really have to go forcefully at them in the laning phase, and that never happened. So approaching 20 minutes in, and we find themselves in this situation.
A lot of focus on being tankier. But again, there's only so much I think that extra health is going to provide at some point. Being able to kind of eat that damage, it's great when you sit there. You can potentially outlive like Joshi. You can outlive Lasbra, unless they are dumping everything into you and they have someone, say like Genetics, healing them up throughout the entirety of the fight. And Death Panther just going to be able to burst down anything they can't.
Love what Insignum have done here with some of their builds too. Death Panther and Genetics going for that Magi's Cloak. It's called Magi's Cloak now, by the way, just so you know, Gore, in case you get confused, because it confused me when that first changed. But we've got Mage's Blessing now, so we had to change it to Magi's Cloak, not Blessing. Anyway, seeing that for Death Panther and Genetics, if you think about the hard CC Fear No Evil have here, it's really the ultimate out from the Cerberus and the ult from Ares that they're really worried about. Outside of that, there's no hard CC as Flurry's gonna get chased under the tower. Lasper blinks in to secure this kill. Zero didn't find the ultimate, but it's still gonna be another kill for Insignum.
2 for none as they're sitting up 13-0 looking for a tier 2. Lasber's relatively low, but Genetics is around, so I don't know if they're too worried. Joshi, now level 20, has a lot of crit online in his build as well, so burning down towers as well as any of the gods on Fear No Evil shouldn't be too much of an issue. Genetics, blink pull. You know he's feeling himself.
He was feeling really confident there, but the bomb will explode and into the sky goes Moex. We gotta kill! We gotta kill! Fear No Evil did it! They got themselves on the board at 20 minutes in. What a team! What a turnaround! Cancel that. Tier 2 tower's about to go down as Moex is going to die to the dot damage from Genetics. Sylvanas is on a killing spree.
Sylvanas is rocking the 4-0-7 right now. 4-0-4 there for the mid laner Death Panther as they're pushing forward. This is going to be a Phoenix push if I've seen one. Actually, no, they're going to call it off. They're going to go for the tier 2 buffs. They're just stripping.
I see the caster curse is still there, Gormaiser.
Oh, yeah, no.
That's the same old, same old. That's good to know.
The last time I was watching, I remember Aggro discussing the timing of it as well. I've learned that mine's about within 5 seconds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I learned that very well with Paladins. It happens real quick.
So if you turn around and say Insignum will win this game, 5 seconds later,
that's
Fear
not
No
gonna
Evil?
happen.
No? No? You
That's
can't curse that,
it's more
man.
like player deaths.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, there's no way Joshi dies here.
Boom.
And then all of a sudden he's gone.
Yep.
And you're just curious as to how it happened because Moex is so far behind.
Second goal fury of the game. Yes, only the second goal fury of the game taken by Insignum, extending their lead now to 14,000 gold, 17,000 experience at 21 minutes in. Insignum, obviously, this is the end of their SMITE minor league plays for the summer. They still have one set to play against North America's SMITE minor league at the LAN. We find out who their opposition will be later on this week, as a couple of more results still waiting to come in to find out who North America's representative will be.
And honestly, at this point, I'd say no matter who you are in NA, you're probably watching this team and trying to figure out some of their weaknesses. It's going to be difficult because it looks like they've got everything kind of locked down. A lot of players that know seemingly at least these 5 gods.
Yeah.
So maybe that's going to be their weakness, but I really doubt it.
Insignum overall, I mean, they lost Half Devil at the start of this split as he joined SK Gaming, and they brought in Genetics from Fear No Evil, and he seems to have just found his pacing still. This team really hasn't seemed to have lost much of a beat with the loss of Half Devil on this comp, and Genetics has fitted right in nicely. Talking about this, in comes Genetics, and 2 crits from Joshi makes that 3. Will kill Moex, and that's a double kill, and the end of game 1.
I am not upset with that surrender vote when Joshi dashes in. The first number you see is 830 something. It's just, all right, I'm done too. Like, I don't need to see any more. I know exactly where the rest of this game is going.
What do you think they need to do differently in game 2 here, really?
I want to see a different jungler, specifically just because early on, like, it felt like that game was a loss at the beginning when Serket gets farm. Osiris doesn't get farm. So if you have at least someone who can keep pace there, I think that gives you a little bit more pressure across the lanes.
So maybe something more assassin-based?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. We'll find out. The desk is standing by to break down that very quick, very exciting, very riveting, amazing, grandioso game 1.
Thank you, Sarcastic Man, and also Gore. Did a great job there, Gore. I like that. Glad you're helping us out here today. Finch and Melissa on the desk here for you as we break down what happened there in Game 1. Do you agree there with Gore, though, that the Osiris jungle may have been part of the problem?
I mean, I think that was one part of the problem, but there's probably a lot of problems if you were on Fear No Evil that game that they quickly became aware of. I think the Ares just was not able to establish that kind of lane dominance that you're really looking for. If anything, he just turned into like an immobile target practice for Insignium. That was a bit unfortunate. And then it was kind of just a trickle-down effect from every single lane losing, and then the jungler eventually being too pressured out from the lack of farm, and then just not having any effective methods really to gank. I mean, it's really difficult. As an Osiris, typically your primary goal is to just blaze ahead of everybody else. You use some of that warrior base damage to your advantage, maybe get a little bit of nice poke going on. You do have the tether also that could set up some nice Discordia strifes and the like, but that just never really came to fruition for Fear No Evil. They kind of just got steamrolled from the start, and I can't say that it's necessarily the player's fault so much as it is just Insignium being that far above the rest.
No, I agree. There's no shame in dropping to Insignium or anything like that, right? They're so strong in the SML. But a couple things that I was thinking as I was watching that game. I mean, who is T850 supposed to go in on the Ares, right? Both the Wrath of Terra and the Airstrike granted the CC immunity, right? That's especially what happened for First Blood for him on the Ares. He tries to pull them both in. They just kind of don't get pulled because they have CC immunity. Then they turn around and kill him, and that ends up dropping. I mean, Zero's able to get the solo kill in solo lane as well. Yeah, this is the exact play I'm talking about, where Wrath of Terra, so he does still get pulled in, but doesn't end up mattering because he puts the dot damage on him as well. So Genetics knocks him up. Then Zero gets the solo kill against Flurries underneath the tower and lives. Glory's never able to find any farm either from Lasbra. I mean, it just never works. This play here as well, the pull into the tower and the root to catch him at the edge. I mean, with stuff like that happening, it's just hard to come back.
You kind of just wonder what the game plan was from the start, though, because as an Osiris, if you see the Sylvanas and Jingwei already underneath their tower, you shouldn't come within pulling range. You shouldn't risk getting grabbed into the T1. You know that you don't have those purification beads online. So that was just, I think it was both a little bit rough decision-making as well as just a really poor composition for what they were up against Insignium. And now, hopefully, taking all of these things into consideration, we see a little bit more pressure-oriented in specific points, because it felt like they had parts but like they weren't putting all of the pieces together. It's just like you go Ares, but then you also have Rom, so it's just counterintuitive to that pressure you're trying to accomplish.
No, I agree. Where were they supposed to be getting their what was their pressure point, right? It's not the Cerberus into the Achilles. You know, it's not Osiris in the jungle up against the Serket, right? It's not this duo lane. I am with you. I'm not exactly sure where they were trying to get that started up as Picks and Bans are ready here for Game 2. We talked about a little bit. Where do you think specifically they might want to go to try and adjust that and find some early pressure?
Sometimes players, whenever they're feeling a bit uncomfortable, knowing that they're playing, because it's not a secret, Fear No Evil are the underdogs in this scenario against Insignium. So with that in mind, the big thing for Fear No Evil to try and do, a lot of teams try to play to their strengths. So that particular composition was composed, I think, mostly of gods that the players of Fear No Evil felt comfortable on, not necessarily the ones that they felt were going to win the matchups. Maybe their mindset at the time was, so long as we get gods that we know how to play, we could, bide our time up until we feel an appropriate team fighting stage is present. And like we noticed, that obviously never really came up, but it happens from time to time. Sometimes you just risk first rewarded, and that was just part of the risk.
Well, very similar picks and bans. Fear No Evil are going to take those two Hunters off the board, but this time, instead of the Zhong Kui getting banned, the Serket's there, and Insignium are going to pick up the Zhong Kui in that first selection. So we've seen that Zhong Kui is so strong now, and Insignium, they're going to ride with him.
Oh, I like this. It's not Osiris, and it's Najah. There's a little bit of pressure, a lot easier jungle clear, a little bit of mobility also, and the Athena.
Wow,
so
I already love this way more.
Two gods that are infinitely better than probably the whole 5 of what we saw from Fear No Evil in the last draft. So really liking this. I think it's going to play a little bit more conventional of that Wombo combo. You've got the Athena taunt to burn up purification beads. Now you have Najah Sash to constantly pose a threat against Insignium. So positioning will need to be kept in mind for Insignium, but they're beefing up their composition Zhonghui and Sylvanas, I mean, that's already a pretty tanky front line. I'm expecting that Zhonghui, even if it's mid or solo, to be a bit more of a hybrid type build.
I think that either way, you're 100% correct that it's not going to be easy to bring that Zhonghui down no matter where he goes. This Rom Sylvanas lane, now that is a pairing that's definitely going to be able to net them here some pressure as well too, unlike the Rom Aerie, so they should not have much trouble clearing early. And now the Ullr comes in. Do you think this is Ullr mid we're looking at?
I would hope it to be an Ullr mid as opposed to a Ullr in the ADC role. Ullr, whenever you throw him into the Hunter role, he's typically there because you want to try and get pressure levels 1 through 4. That can maybe lead into some buff invades. But the concern here is that you're going with the Ullr when Rom Sylvanas are already locked in. You're never going to outclear that lane in a million years. So
it's going to be tough.
If it is an Ullr in the Hunter role, I still picture this as Insignum winning out the lane dominance, and that may be trickling into them having some buff pressure invade. So I'm curious as to what Fear No Evil's intentions are with this Ullr.
Well, it looks like Insignum don't think that's an Ullr mid. They ban away the Discordia and the Isis to take their eye towards the mid mages. So I guess expecting this Ullr to go to the Hunter role. And I think that makes sense because you expect a big mage ult to be there for Naja when he comes back down, right? So maybe they just ban away some mages as they got a nice comp over there on Insignum.
That would make the most sense. Normally you want that big burst of damage on that Naja landing. That way it's not all for naught.
That's damage.
There's plenty of damage between Anubis. The big concern also, though, is that it's not immediate burst damage. It's kind of that tick over time. And yeah, it can tick you really fast in that laser gaze, but there's only so long that that'll come into effect because you have to time it immediately upon the landing, and you're also stationary when you do it.
Right, you can be a much easier target, especially for the likes of some of this drafty for Insignum. So, looking at this composition, are we thinking it's going to be Odin in the jungle for them and then here for Insignum, and they're going to put Zhonghui solo?
Odin jungle makes the most sense because of the fact that it would give Lasbra the opportunities to cage a lot of the members from Fear No Evil. I mean, Naja, Athena, Matarasu, Anubis, they really fed into this Odin. Not intentionally with the first few picks, but Amaterasu and Anubis were definitely risking it there. Yeah,
Anubis into the Odin cage. They definitely feel it's a confidence here.
It's a bold statement.
It is. That's saying a lot there, but I assume you're still leaning here towards Insignum in this match then.
I think I still got to give it to Insignum.
I'm with you on that one. Let's go ahead and get into the cast, see if Fear No Evil can pull off the upset.
Thanks a lot, guys. Go Miser, quick question. You casted quite a lot of Smite for your history too, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever see Anubis get picked into an Odin?
No.
No, me neither.
I don't even know how to elaborate on that. Just no.
We'll find out how this works out then for Fear No Evil here today. I'm just hoping it's not this Giannis jungle that I have a feeling it could be.
Well, they heard what we were saying about Ares jungle, so now it's actually Sylvanas jungle.
Oh, maybe it is, and it's Odin support. It could potentially work out. We'll find out. Let's get into Game 2 and see how quickly Insignum can beat Fear No Evil this time around. Or will the Goobis cause them problems? Lucas in the mid lane on that, and it's going to be the Odin jungle, so nothing too crazy. I thought for a second we may see some more shenanigans.
I'm actually excited to see what Zero can accomplish here because this is the 5th game of Smite that I have gotten to cast for Season 5. And all 4 of them before this, Zhonghui has been banned, which was something completely new to me. I actually had to look up and ask you about the changes because it was one of those things, and you can actually see Fear No Evil doing something I think that we haven't seen in a long time, and actually Insignum, I think, taking the same notes.
So they were looking for a gank, is what they were trying to do here, Fear No Evil. They were desperately looking for a gank, and Flores is dead. Flores is dead. He's dead. No, he's not. They all walked away.
Collapse.
Oh, he's going to be fine. I actually thought he was going to be fine. He's still in a bit of pressure on this side, though, at the moment, because he's on the wrong side of the map. Yes, he is red. Zero here with a card to slow him down. Has to use the sprint early. So he will survive, but take some free poke. And Zhonghui, top of the player damage at 11 seconds in. That's where it's going to stay throughout this game.
127. He's going to be able to extend that even further. And this is perfect for Zero because look how much mana he's expended for this. And look where Flores' health bar is. You're trying to fight. This is not the fight to take. Level 1 right now, Zero has a distinct advantage.
Yes, he's below half health before the minion waves even touch each other. I'm talking about nearly half health. Moex is the same sort of way in the duo lane. Playing that ult, getting punished by the Rama and the Sylvanas early on. Well, I'm excited to see how this plays out because the one problem Anubis is going to have is, yes, he likes to lifesteal. He likes to lifesteal a lot, so much so he gets a Bancrofts. But when you checked in that ring, you don't heal anymore.
You are in this really awkward position of not only having your healing shut down, but you also have to get a lot of your damage online. Like, you're going to be very item-based, I want to say, as Anubis. You're very ult and item-based, and as of right now, he's not going to have either, and if he gets shut down early, I don't know if he's ever going to get there.
Not the worst call in the world from T8 to pressure out, but by going too deep a little bit too long, he's taken more punishment than he bargained for, too. On top of that, Insignum still have the wave pressure here in that duo lane, which means they can invade the purple, hit level 2, and start to sustain with the wisps from the Sylvanas if they so choose.
And they're not even going to be worried about that health bar just because of those wisps. I mean, any poke that they take from T8, they're just going to be happy about because that's going to be permanent over on him.
Yep.
Maybe a health pot can take him up a little bit, make it a little bit more even, but having the wisps and those potions as well is going to make it a lot easier for Insignum. And then you also end up in moments like this. Death Panther, again, he's not going to have a lot of burst initially, but as time goes on, especially at level 5, he's just going to be able to break down Fear No Evil's mid lane.
Well, Glory this game in the jungle did go with an assassin, so that's going to be a nice little bit of a bonus this time. A little bit more aggression early on. Death Panther trying to take a fight in the jungle, or rather get a bit of poke off and maybe defend that camp, but has been forced out of the lane a little bit there. So early pressure from Fear No Evil in mid has been useful. Got to respect the Anubis, and even in the early game, it's when you get to the team fights where he may struggle.
And honestly, this is partially just because Glory has switched away. Osiris would never have been able to push out a Yanis like that before. The damage would not have been anywhere near enough. You would have seen Death Panther kind of laughing about it. Like, why are you trying to fight me? Like, I'm just going to turn around, hit my 2, maybe if I need to, hit my 1 to lock you down, and I'm going to be out of here, no problem. You are locked in this position now. One good sash could kill you.
And now with that, the pressure in Signum's duo lane continues. Now level 3, got secured both the buffs in that duo side of things too. And now they can look for a bit of pressure with that root from Genetics. Should have his pull available and the wisps too now at level 3. Generally put 1 point in each at the start, just so you can use all those abilities for aggression and defense.
All around the board, again, similar to what we saw last game, Insignum have control. Flores has not been able to do really anything against this Zhang Kui so far, has been locked in this position, but Zero's not going to have the same aggression. He's not going to be able to get into the blue buff, so you at least have some sustainability in your mana, which will give you a little bit of health over time, but Amaterasu is definitely falling behind here, and it's going to be rough to crawl back out.
Genetics going to get taunted just to the tower edge, but root pull on T8, and that puts some more damage on. Nice sex out of Moex, though, just to slow down Genetics autos from bleeding out T8 a little bit more. I will say T8 does need to make some adjustments in terms of his build options, though. At the beginning of the game, you don't need mana pots. As a support, if you are getting mana pots, you have an issue. Multi-potions is definitely a thing that will help you out more in terms of pressure in the lane. If you need mana pots at that stage when you've got a Guardian's Blessing too, you're going to have a bad time, and you're actually just wasting gold overall at that moment.
And with the way things have been going, that mana pot's kind of useless. He hasn't been using enough abilities to actually make it worthwhile.
There's a blink in mid lane from Glory, but he won't be able to find the sash after the fact. It was aimed towards Death Panther. Level 5 for the mid lane and jungle of Fear No Evil at the moment. Lads, we're a little bit further behind on Odin, which is not the best place you want to be as an Odin. But Lucas still a bit too far forward here. He's going to be very careful. Goes for the root combination, but instead he eats a space and time to the face. Lucas now going to avoid some of the damage from the bird bomb and then ult in place and die. You know, that didn't work out as planned.
That's a long cooldown. Not only just because of the death, but also because now your ult is completely gone. That is actually a really, really good ult when it comes to objectives. Like, it burns incredibly fast. And again, if you're looking at certain areas, if you do get locked in the cage, that might be your best bet at killing off Odin or someone before you die. Ooh. Instead, throws it out as the last minute. Just win.
Zero really going in with the ghost here. The ghost might just be enough, but the heals came through just in time for Flores to stay alive. But Zero's giving chase here. Dash away will keep him alive for now, but now the proxy farm can begin and the topping up of health that Zero took from aggressing. That tier 1 tower on the right hand side is surely to fall soon as the blue buff is about to spawn. Zero is going off on that right hand side and there's nothing Flores can do about it.
Now he's going to be able to see it. It was one of those things, it was just that awkward timing where he didn't know how soon it was going to come up. But there it is, and that honestly is going to be able to bring him not only back to full health with how many minions he's taken, but now his mana is going to go back up to full. He doesn't even need to go back to lane, except for the fact that he's probably got a healthy chunk of change to spin.
Mid lane now pressure onto Glory and Lucas, both trapped inside the ring. Unstable Vortex does hit with Lucas, as Glory went for the ultimate there, couldn't find it. In comes Genetics though, looking towards Lucas. Lucas gets hit by the ultimate, the bird bomb too, and even the snipes were raining down from Joshi there as he was assisting. Goobis is dead for the second time this game.
And T8 charged his ult for that as well. Goes up, comes straight back down, uses that ability, so now he's not going to have that available, and that just locks them all down overall for this fight. It makes Fear No Evil a lot more difficult to find their way back into it. They have no Athena presence across the map like they had.
It's going to put some more pressure on the whole map, really, without Athena too, as well as the Aegis being consumed by Lucas in the first engagement that he went for. He wasn't available for that, and now he's going to need it again, potentially. Although his ultimate's back available, and he's got the full Bancrofts online now, so Anubis definitely can sustain through the engagements as long as he's not inside that Odin ring.
I was about to say that Zero must not realize that he still has a tier 1 to get through. And then I looked up and realized he didn't have a tier 1 to get through anymore. I was the one who was lagging behind on that one. He has gotten so much pressure in this lane that there's nothing Flores can do. He's stuck behind. He's 2 levels behind as well. And so he's not getting any farm that he wants. He's not getting any pressure he wants, and Zero's untouchable.
I mean, what do you do, Glory, as a jungler? Like Glory in this situation, you look at your mid and you go, all right, my Anubis is dead twice. And you look at your solo and you go, all right, my Amaterasu is pinned under his tier 2 tower. Where do you gank? Where do you pressure? Do you look for the Shankui at this stage when he's 3 levels up on your solo laner?
I don't even know if you could do it. He's 2 levels up on you. Even with a gank, I don't think there's a guarantee you come out of that one alive, especially with the way he's been changed. I mean, he is already kind of inherently tanky. He is going to be one of the tankier mages, which is why he makes such a good solo laner. So you're not only trying to lock him down, you have to have extra burst. I think you need a 3 or 4-man rotation to take care of him.
Well, 3 or 4 men are actually in the mid lane now for Fear No Evil, just trying to support this Anubis at the start of the game that's a little bit further behind. You can see the climb from Lasbra. He was once upon a time level 4 to the level 5 of Glory, and now he's actually got a level lead on the opposition jungler. Glory, though, going to look towards the duo lane here. Moex is here on the ult, and this could be a good play. Great ultimate, but great beat in response. Joshi, wow, that reaction time was good. Well played by him, and good turnaround from Insignum to make it 3-0.
And that was just like no hesitation, knew exactly what needed to happen. Heard the cue and immediately had those beats, read it. Now Moex is going to be the one in danger, rooted. Rom not going to be able to find it all, but up in the air. 1 snipe, 2 snipes, 3 snipes going to connect.
Wow, Moex is just a little slow on the transformation there to try and jump after changing stance. And that makes it 4 kills with a 3k lead at only 8 minutes in. Tier 1 tower could be under pressure here as Lucas in the mid lane. A little bit far forward there, son. Eat that bird bomb to your mush, and that makes it 5.
That is twice that he has gone into the ult and just had a bird bomb dropped on him. Hasn't been a cage. It hasn't been any like ult damage from anybody. It's just been, okay, well, you're stuck in one spot. Let's put all our burst right there.
Well, with how this game began, and Signum came in undefeated. They've only dropped 1 game the entire split. 1 actual game, not set, just a single game. And I believe it was to the bottom team in the SMITE minor league, would you believe? Fear No Evil sat at the 2nd to bottom of the minor league before today, and now up against this, and in comes Zero, looking towards Glory. He's going to use the Exorcism, get a bit of damage off, do a bit of a damage check to see how quickly he can burst down that Najah.
Couple of farm, or a couple experience camps going to be taken right here.
Oh, he's going to take on 3.
He's actually going to come in. He wants to fight. He's going to keep going. That's his ult.
He could kill them all. He could kill them all if he gets that last ghost assassin from Glory. Glory takes it to the sky, but just to survive more than anything, he won't find the kill. Death Panther cleans up 1. Finally, Zero falls, but trapped inside the ring are a couple of attacks. And Genetics again. The Sylvanas of Doom. He gets himself another 2 kills.
That was probably the most identifying moment for how Fear No Evil feel, because you see Najah go up in the air, and then the number that pops up is 86 every single time. And you're like, man, how do we kill this Zhang Kui?
How do we do it?
Not like that. I mean, they do end up getting rid of Zero, but they had to dump so much into just him that it didn't help too much. They do get their first kill a lot earlier in the game this time around, but I mean, they give Genetics a double kill.
And, well, he's actually a level ahead of the solo laner. That kind of shows you the state of the game here when the support is a level ahead of the solo laner. Those are some magic mushrooms on that character, I tell you that much, because they're doing good work today so far, getting himself a lot of kills. His KDA, I think, is better than some of his teammates in this set.
This is actually one of those things, and I feel like this is an argument that goes back pretty much the entirety of SMITE. Who gets the kills? You want your hunter to get kills so they can get more gold, so they can buy more items, so they can just snowball. But you also want your Guardian to get kills, because then you get stuff like
Joshi
this.
under pressure. Won't get to the sky in time, actually. Glory came through big enough to find a kill. It's 2 kills for Fear No Evil, but space and time for Panther on his own over here. Has to beat away from the taunt, but the man mountain is here. Genetics, the killer of killers, the mushroom man himself. He's going to allow them to live this time.
Had that been, I want to say, like slightly earlier for Sylvanas, maybe that poke turns into kills right now. Lucas, now he's trapped in the cage. Now he's locked in place, and you do have
Now
Athena.
he's dead again.
He literally delivered T8 potentially to his death.
He potentially did because Genetics is here, but won't find the pull this time round. Still no Gold Fury attempts out of Insignum so far. Pyromancer is now available for them to take 2. As Zero on the right-hand side just continues farming away. Flores has caught up a little bit. He's only 2 levels down on the solo lane now, but the problem is that, well, Zhong's got his second Relic online now, and we'll find out what he gets here. And Aegis will just keep him topped up even longer if he needs to.
I mean, he has nothing to worry about as of right now. You can see, like, even trying to clear the wave. You're still sitting under tower as a Matarasu,
All right.
and you're not able to do much.
Fire Giant at 11.5 minutes, started up by 2. Death Panther going to join in. Genetics can tank up for a while. He's going to end up dying eventually because it's going to take a little bit too long for them to do. But now that Odin's here, he should be able to lead the charge slowly but surely. Catchy Monkey, Space and Time fired off on the right just to help out and killing Flores at the same time for Zero. Fire Giant, less than 12. Nobody on Fear No Evil knew what was up.
And being able to use that immediately, they press the gas pedal. They use the through time and space that's there, through space and time.
Oh, I was about
Got
to.
it backwards.
We're about to have some words then, Mike.
They moved on in. The rest of the team backs off, and while
steal our abilities and then steal the name of it,
you can
change
tell.
it.
I'm gonna go. I can get this gripe out right now. They never thought someone was gonna do both games because that is really difficult to do.
Oh yeah, no one thinks about casters. Luke is gonna eat an ultimate and an unstable vortex that doesn't get blocked by the Aegis. Genetics on a killing spree again. 3 kills for the man, Mushroom Man, in the mid lane. He might as well be a mid laner. T8 under pressure. The damage coming through. Lasbra gets credit for the kill, and now Moex versus Zero.
1v2. Question is whether or not he's going to be able to do it.
He's
up in the
ult.
air. I
He's got
don't
ult.
expect again. Now the number's 89. It's gone up 3 damage overall. Doesn't have his ult, but does have a lot of burst. Keeps himself alive at least a little bit. But that might have just set it up for Lasbra.
Not sure why Moex stayed in lane though, because the rotation was seen from that ward from Lasbra. Bird bomb off the mark, but it clears out the minions to give Moex a tower shot. Axe! Lasbra actually walked into that one. I think he felt sorry for Moex in that situation. Did have to use the beads too, and T8 turns up precisely when he means to. Glory's now here with the sash, but he's not got an ultimate after using it earlier on against Joshi. And now Death Panther taking on 2.
Trying to do whatever he can. And ability usage is going to be huge here. He has a lot of burst. Not going to connect onto Glory there, so now he's going to be in a hard spot. But he's really just a distraction. Gold Fury gets taken while all that's going on.
Ring toss used, but now he's out of mana and trapped inside the ring again as he was just looking to escape. Glory will fall for his 3rd time this game as Death Panther gives chase for T8. Looking for an unstable vortex. Nice slow from the threshold. It does connect, not enough to kill yet. One portal could be good, and there it is.
You see, as Lasbra comes in trying to take the kill, and Death Panther showing off, I think, exactly why one good Yanis can change a lot, whereas one good Anubis, I don't think makes much of a difference overall in the fight so far.
I mean, you call it a good Anubis. It's 1-7. It's one of my rank style games, to be fair. Titsuta on the left-hand side will now fall, and Insignum pressuring on towards a Phoenix and Moex at the same time, who actually got hit nicely by Joshi there to make sure that he couldn't leap away by the cripple, and it was followed up beautifully by the rest of Insignum. The Phoenix will not take long with a Fire Giant round the waist, as Glory with a quick rope-a-dope slash into the ult onto a different target will find Joshi, but Joshi's still alive for now, and able to escape, being chased down by 2, needs some help and gets it from the ring from Lasbra.
Getting relatively low, but he's going to be able to walk away, and they have some healing nearby, and the full team's in a 5v2 as of right now. That's going to be a beautiful pull onto T8, and I don't think he's going to be able to walk out of this one nowhere near alive.
And now, only Phoenix is remaining. At less than 15 minutes in the game, Fear No Evil have not done anything this set to show signs of life whatsoever. Game 1, they brought out Osiris Jungle. It didn't work. Game 2, they picked Anubis into an Odin. Guess what? It didn't work. And Insignum now looking at a second Phoenix in 15 minutes. That's why the top of the minor league in Europe.
Being able to sit here, again, not worried. There's going to be
got
an
him!
ult. They might be able to get the
They
kill.
killed
No,
him!
he walks away. He might be able to. No, Genetics.
Get wrecked, son.
He's
Sylvanas is dead.
3-1 and 11.
Bashonga Donga is here, and who you gonna call? You need some help. Death Panther cleans up Lucas in the back of that. Moex running for his life with his axes out. Zero stunned in place by Flores, but turns around and cleans it up. And into the sky goes Joshi to end Ul's life. 21-4, 25 kills in 15 minutes. And Insignum continuing on the rampage.
Last game we were talking about numbers that eventually seem insurmountable. I'd say 12,000 experience, 14,000 gold usually lends you that favor. As of right now, I mean, every single tower has been taken down. 2 Phoenixes, 2 Gold Furies, and a Fire Giant. Just 1 Gold Fury.
I tell you, I'm so glad that we get to broadcast all the different teams in the minor league just to show the skill gap and how good they really can be on any given day. And Signum looking pretty solid here and closing out their performance in the minor league. And then, as I said earlier on, they get to face off against North America at the LAN and show what they've got.
0. Caught out, but honestly just looking to try and find some aggression, looking to push in with the rest of his team, and that's going to be a double tap.
Yep, space and time came through. Lasbra gets one, Panther gets another, Flores gets killed by Sylvanas. In comes Glory to use his ultimate, but it won't matter. The Titan has fallen. Yes, it wasn't a surrender vote. That was a 16.5-minute game through to completion.
And you could see the team, the only reason they actually decided to focus on the Titan was because Glory went up. Man, we don't have anyone to kill. Like, we can't fountain farm you if you're just going away. Congratulations
then to Insignum. Obviously, they'd already qualified today, and FNE Weaver couldn't do much then, well, pick Anubis, I guess. There's not much more to say. How did you find that cast? Was it fun?
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was a very fast game.
Does that remind you of the Challenger Cup a little bit?
Yes.
Like a quarter-final Challenger Cup game.
When it comes through and you're like, okay, this is how I expect it. You're watching like the #1 seed up against what would be, I guess, here #5 overall. So it feels about right.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Go Boys. Let's get it back to the desk to break down that really long game.
38 minutes of total game time. That's all it took for Insignum to dismantle Fear No Evil. They continue to look like the dominant team here in Europe SML, and for good reason. They've got a ton of talent. Fear No Evil, no slouches by any means. That's just how strong Insignum are.
Insignum are just such a dominating team right now in the European minor league, and so I can't really say that these results were very much a surprise or even unexpected. A bit faster than what I might have been anticipating.
Yeah, 16's pretty quick for a Titan kill.
That's pretty quick for a Titan game end, but you know, I gotta hand it to Fear No Evil for at least coming out here and drafting some serious compositions and trying to give forth their best effort. It's just that sometimes the level of the competition a little bit too steep.
Yeah, and they kind of go all in on this strategy, right? The Anubis clearly doesn't work out for Lucas there in the mid lane. Lasbra repeatedly punishing him on that Odin. Zero was able to bully quite easily Flurries over there in the solo lane on the Zhonghui as well, so it just kind of got away from them very early. It's
just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, and I don't really have much to say. I mean, sometimes the gameplay speaks for itself, folks.
Sure.
In case you guys missed out on Game 1, pretty similar fashion, ended at 22 minutes. And this one was the 16-minute barn burner, so
not very lengthy. But I mean, there were a couple things in that were curious and raised some questions. I mean, Lucas, I goes with the Aegis early, and I get it, right? Lasbra and the Odin doesn't have a ton of control. It's more about trying to survive through any burst that comes through. But even that doesn't end up helping him. He's playing too far forward. They catch him out very early on. Genetics played very well on the Sylvanas in both games, finding some very impressive kills as well on the Sylvanas.
Normally, you want to watch out for those kind of things. I mean, the big thing for me is that you're kind of forced into the Aegis as the Anubis also, because you can't really avoid the bird bomb damage. And so if you want to try and at least give yourself a little bit of survivability, that's probably your best option there on the relic choice. But it's just the positioning choices that he made after the fact. That's what really became problematic, because he just continuously pushed up, like you were talking about, Finch. And not only that, but I also feel like the entirety of Fear No Evil was kind of following suit. They were just constantly getting picked off in different parts of the jungle that they realistically should not have been anywhere near, considering how far behind they were from the start. So this, to me, just felt like inexperience over everything else.
Definitely that was one of the gaps there. I mean, Glory has a great ultimate actually on the Joshi, but Joshi has insanely fast beats just off reaction time and is able to get out of there. So some of it was composition, some of it was position, some of it was just Insignum's nuts. So there are definitely a few plays that ended up getting away from them here. And I think we might even be able to get that one up here. This is where Joshi ends up getting caught out, holds the beads there from the axe, actually. Very good patience and waiting on the rotation in from Glory. And there it is, beads, perfect to keep himself alive, and they get the kill.
It just absolutely gobbled up also. The Sylvanas plays were just so on point. And
he was really on point.
You have to notice Joshi's discipline in that moment also, recognizing that the bladed arrow and the hail of arrows had already been expended. He didn't take that as much damage as he was probably looking
That's right.
to
If he
try and
panic
avoid.
beads on that axe, he's dead there. You're exactly right.
He might have been Najah ulted immediately, and then you never really know what happens next or whether or not they're able to actually establish that kill to begin with. But because they were able to turn the situation so handedly, that kind of just left Glora stuck up in the air, and he just doesn't really know where to go from there.
It did end up leaving him in a bad spot, but that's going to do it for that set. Let's go ahead and take a look at where everyone's shaping out in those standings. I'm up on the screen, and Signum, no surprise, up at the very top, 10-0. No one able to touch them here in the summer split, so they'll be going to meet up against Very Nice to Me, it would appear, as they're already at 9 wins. No one's going to be able to catch up to them at that quite level either, so they could potentially be the team that they'll be facing at the LAN. We'll go ahead and take a look at the schedule as well and see which ones we expect, which matches we can expect to look at later on in the week. Again, on Thursday, Poppies and Victoria's Secret, and then Friday is the doubleheader.
And it's not guaranteed just yet for Very Nice to Me, because they've still got to go through Armada first. If they get beaten by Armada here, then you never really know. It could be Armada that ends up facing off against Insignum, and Insignum looking for revenge against North America.
That's right. It was really, to be fair, it was not that close when they played against Anxiety onset. There was a big gap there. I don't know if it's as big a gap this time. Insignum looks so clean, don't they? They look scary. So, and you're exactly right. Armada at 9-0, but 7-1, or rather Armada at 7-1 and Very Nice at 9-0. So if they're able to get that win, go to 8-1, then grab one more win at the end of the week to get to 9-1, they could be right there with Very Nice to Me. So that's something we're going to look forward to. We should be seeing that set later on in the week. But again, no matches on Wednesday. We're pushing some of those towards Friday. So instead, we don't get to watch any kind of broadcast there on Wednesday. We got the great American holiday there where we tell people like Hindu Man to put it somewhere else. Go away.
And, well, just like any fun holidays, that also comes including a few gem sales going on also. So those are pretty interesting. In case you guys were wondering, you can get up to 35% off gem packs, but it's only for a limited time.
That's pretty good. Taco and I have to get up and come to work for gems, but you all just get a nice sale. Like, that's how we get ours. That's how we get paid, is those gems.
I get boosters. You get gems?
You get boosters? Oh, no. That's not a livable wage,
I'm
Taco.
down to trade.
I'll give you some. I feel like I kind of have to. But this sale, of course, is only going through to July 4th, so you want to grab that while you can. Hurry up and get those gems. That's right around the corner. You're almost running out of time. And speaking of right around the corner, HRX is going to be coming up as well. We're going to be at DreamHack this year, November 16th through 18th. So grab those tickets right now, highresexpo.com. Go ahead and open up that other tab. It should be right up there at the top. Just open that other window up, highresexpo.com. Get some tickets. Come see me. Come see Taco. Watch Console, Paladins, Smite, tons of action.
And not to mention all the other titles that'll be featured at DreamHack also.
That's
It'll
right.
be right here in the heart of Atlanta, over there in downtown. It's a pretty exciting place to be.
Yeah, you can come talk to Taco. Make sure she doesn't end up falling down any more flights of stairs, which is exactly what happened. How she got this neck injury. That is the story that I'm going to push right now as what happened. What happened, Taco? How'd you trip?
A car accident.
Oh, I mean, I don't believe that. I think it was something else that had happened. The SPL will be coming up here shortly. That'll be starting at 1 p.m. Again, we're moving that up because he had to move some matches around since we're not doing that broadcast on Wednesday. So make sure you stick around. Only about an hour till that SPL going to be kicking off. So that's going to be all of us here to bring that SPL action to see who is it goes to LAN. You don't want to miss a minute of that action. Really, all the sets have big LAN implications. So we'll be right back here at 1. Make sure that you tune in.